Go ahead and call the meeting to order Monday, November 16th at 4:01 p.m. First on the agenda is the joint water and sewer and water district item. Remembrance, acknowledgement of service, and a moment of silence for longtime sewer and water commissioner Steve Draper. I know everyone was shocked by this, and I'm still having a hard time believing it. Steve will be greatly missed, and I don't know any area of this island that he didn't have something to do with. So, and as also a great source of information. So, I think all of our condolences go out to Rita and the whole family, extended family as well. Second item on there is discussion of potential action regarding the approval of minutes for October 19th, 2020 monthly meeting. Any feedback, thoughts, suggestions, changes? Okay.
I want to mention that Pete McNerney, he can't unmute himself currently. Should I just tell him, what is it, star 9?
Star 6.
6. Okay, star 6, Pete.
Hi, I just want to let you
should-
guys know I'm able to log in. It's Sandra.
He's not able to get through.
Okay. We sure we want Pete to be unmuted? Anyway.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Hi,
Sue, do
Jim.
you have to unmute Pete as well as the coordinator?
All I can do is ask to unmute. I can't physically unmute him.
He's
Okay.
He's trying to unmute and it won't do it.
Okay.
He hang up and maybe try to call back. Maybe a new connection would help.
You know,
Just
I
suggested
dialed in on
hanging
my
up and
phone this time and it was a little
trying
bit
to-
different. It's in a different spot, so.
Hmm.
Okay. I have no changes to the minutes. Does anyone else have any thoughts or changes? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. We need a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by
Okay.
Sandra.
Okay, all in favor. Tom, you have to unmute or wave. I think that's an aye. Okay. Pete, we don't know what you can do or can't do. Sue, who are our voting members actually?
Well, Pete seems to have dropped off, so it would be Tom, you,
Yep.
Sandra, and Diane right now.
Okay, all right. So I didn't know if the alternates were able to vote or anything like that. I think Diane's an alternate, but since Pete's not here, she'd be voting. Is that the case?
Well, since Kathy and then we have an empty seat at the moment, so they can both vote even if Pete comes back.
Okay, all right.
Hello.
So
There he
Hello.
is.
is that Pete?
Hi. Yeah.
Hi,
Okay.
Pete.
We have a motion on the floor, Pete, to approve the minutes. And I think Tom seconded.
Sandra
his hand.
seconded.
All right, and so Pete, how do you vote?
Hi.
Sandra,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and Brad votes aye. Okay, motion passes. Discussion of potential action regarding the Boston Bruins. Benton Berman's customer 393 abatement request. John?
Yeah, I'll take this. The Berman account in, the Martin House complex there, they had a toilet flow as they were leaving the house full open until someone returned to the home. They received a large bill of the tune of 37,000 gallons for the month of September. They repaired the toilet even before they got the bill, which I thought was impressive, but they had this large bill of an overage, a penalty overage of $2,035 for water and $503.54 for sewer. They've written this letter to be forgiven the penalty. They do cross some of the boxes, or a lot of the boxes, that they're not regular problem account for this type of thing. They did go over their water allocation by 1,000 gallons, very minimal. They have purchased that allocation to that effect. I believe they bought 2,000 gallons to account for that. So in this letter, they're asking for the overage penalty, not for the usage. It was
So what's the recommendation?
I mean, if it's your pleasure, you know, and we've done this in the past for one-time anomalous things, you know, that happen, unforeseen circumstances, and that people are responsible and they get their plumbing fixtures fixed, we have in the past forgiven the penalty.
What is the penalty fee, John?
The penalty is $2,035 for water, $503.54 for sewer. Their customer $393.
Okay, so that's the penalty. What was their overage fee? I'm just curious.
That was the penalty fee.
Okay,
So
What was-
their bill was also large for the usage, but they're not asking for that. We never, you know, if it goes
We
down
don't let
the
the
drain,
usage go, I know.
we don't let the usage go.
All
okay.
right, well, I make a recommendation that we, or a motion that we forgive the $2,035 and the $504 and however many cents penalties.
I second that, since because this is a unique circumstances and
Or-
normally what we do.
And we have to say for Benton Berman, customer number 393.
All right, for Benton Berman, customer 393.
Second. Okay, let's take a vote. I vote aye. Brad, Pete,
Aye.
Sandra,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and Tom. Aye. Okay, all right. Motion passes. Okay. Moving on to the sewer district. Pete.
Sewer, first item is recognize Chris Blaine for being awarded 2019 Atlantic States Rural Water and Wastewater Association's Outstanding Wastewater Superintendent. I don't know if Chris is listening in, but he certainly did his job in that department. We've gotten a lot of awards, and I'm anticipating that Dylan will continue down that road, and because Chris had a great crew, and the rest of the crew is still there, plus a couple of new members. So congratulations, Chris.
Pete, we do have Chris on the phone. Chris, if you want to say anything, you can hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, excellent.
Well, I just like to repeat what Pete said. I deeply appreciate the award and never could have gotten that award without a great crew and the support of the entire sewer commission. So I really appreciate it, and Dylan's going to forward that to me.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
Congrats,
you,
Chris.
Chris.
Well,
Thank you.
And
Nice job, Chris.
And I would just like to say that it is absolutely well-deserved, and too long in coming. Diane apologized quite a bit for not getting it here sooner. I believe this is something that should have been recognized far earlier, but you definitely deserve it. And thank you for all that you taught me. So I appreciate it as well. I'll be forwarding that or mailing that over to you tomorrow.
thank you very much, and everybody take care. Stay safe.
You as
too.
well, Chris. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Take care, Chris. Have a good one.
All right. Next order of business, number 5, discussion, potential action regarding recommendation, town council to add Plat 8, Lot 215 to the sewer district. I'm assuming that's the Gables.
That is not. The Plat 8, Lot 215 is actually, they kind of put the cart before the horse and got a bit ahead of themselves on this one, thinking they were in the sewer district. They are in the water district. This is on High Street, adjacent to the school, across, I believe, from the field and next to Bethany Coviello's. So we have included 214 and 217 in the district, but 215 is now requesting, so. I have no objections.
Excellent. So that's what, do we need to make a, we don't need to make a recommendation. At the end of the day, it's the council that does it, right?
We still have to provide a recommendation.
Creation, yes.
I'll make a
I
recommendation that we add Plat 8, Lot 215 to the sewer district.
Second.
All in favor? Sandra,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Tom. He says aye. Pete,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Pete, how are you feeling, by the way?
Feeling okay.
Good.
Yeah. I figured I'd say something at the end of the meeting, quick. But anyway, discussion of potential action regarding COVID-19 wastewater testing, Dylan.
Yes, I would like to request that be covered under the operations report if Susie can accommodate the PowerPoint. Just to keep me on track without getting on tangents. Thanks.
Okay. Everybody's okay, I guess, with that. Discussion on potential action regarding sewer financials and aging tax sale update. Mona, I'm assuming that we got Mona and or Amy there.
Yes, I think you have us both. Please let me know if you can't hear me. I've been having some connection problems.
You're coming in loud and clear.
So, okay, that's good. So for sewer, we were up compared to last year, which is great, about 7.3% as far as what people were using. Overall, we're looking really good if you look at our user fees, compared to what we budgeted. So by the end of the year, we hope, and we are crossing our fingers that we're going to end up with a surplus that will feed reserves. Let's see here. I wanted to talk to you guys about the tax sale, the sewer tax sale. I'd like to get that process going if possible, and I'm proposing a date of April 23rd for the actual tax sale. That's the earliest we can do it at this point with all the different processes that need to happen and just considering holidays and such. So I'm looking to do April 23rd for the tax sale and send out some courtesy notices with the December bills. So if you guys are okay with moving forward with the tax sale, which I believe you already have said.
I am.
Okay.
Well, so my only question is there any feeling, depending on what we do with this COVID thing, I think we're probably going to be well on the way to vaccinations and all that stuff by then, but is there any chance that we'd get held up on that, do you think, in anybody's opinion?
I don't think we'll get legally held up, David.
No, we won't be legally held up because we're not subject to the PUC's jurisdiction, which is, the entity that's been putting those kind of holds on there. We did that this time around as, kind of a courtesy, just following suit with other, call it billing type entities from a utility standpoint. But legally, no, it'd just be a matter of policy, whether or not there would be some kind of impediment.
All right. Well, I don't foresee any policy issues. Anybody have any comments on that? Brad's in, I'm in. Sandra, Tom?
I have a
Anybody?
question, and that is, does it go to anyone who's over 60 days? What people does it go to?
Sure. So the first 90-day notice goes to people that are over 60 days past due. And then that kind of locks in that number. And so those are the people that end up being in the tax sale and are expected to clear up their balances. So,
So once
60 days and older. Over
So once
60
they
days,
get
sorry.
that notice, then does interest continue to run?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Till the very end, interest will run, yeah.
Okay.
Pete, this
Okay.
appears to be the Block Island Times. Has got that question, my hand up. Is that, Susie, is that it?
That's not me. Sorry, not me.
Okay,
I don't see the hand now. It disappeared,
oh, okay.
except for
Sorry.
Tom.
All right, any other questions at the moment?
Well, if we're done with the financials, which we didn't really gotta go over, other than hopefully we'll have a surplus, I am looking at, on page 1, it seems like these are a little bit larger than normal. Customer almost all the way down, customer 57 for almost 25,000. And at the same time, that same customer, if I include it, going on to page 4, about halfway down, 16,000. So we're talking getting up to close to $40,000. That's a little bit higher than in
Yes.
the past.
Absolutely, and that has to do with the fact that we didn't have our tax sale at the normal time. Usually, well, actually, no, we were gonna have a water tax sale, weren't we? So, yeah, that is what it is.
This is just sewer.
No, so sewer would have been this year.
Sewer was this
Sewer's
year.
the one, yeah, so that's why these are particularly high. I know water is high for this
Yeah.
particular customer as well. And when
I
we
mean,
get
just,
to that
just sewer alone,
portion.
we're talking almost 40 grand. So,
Yeah.
or over
Yeah.
40 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. All right. Because the other ones that I see in there, while some of those balances are large, they've been there in the past, i.e. customer 110 on page 3,
Mhm.
and as well as one of the town accounts too. So,
I have a comment or a question regarding the courtesy that was extended, all the ratepayers. Does it make sense for a customer that has such a large, that owes so much on both water and sewer to be granted the same courtesy as people who are, on time with their payments or close to on time? It seems kind of ridiculous to stretch it out and make it such a large balance. I know there's interest payments along with that, but just something I'm seeing.
so what's your real question though?
My question is, should people who are carrying if a courtesy comes along again, say if we have another outbreak of COVID and we decide to do the same thing again, should it be granted to people who are holding such a large balance on their account? It just seems like it's such a significant amount of money. And now we're looking at, what did you say, it's over or close to $40,000 for just sewer alone?
Probably over 40,000, but this particular customer has a history of this, and when we start the estate sale, if I'm not, or tax sale, usually gets paid
They
up right
always
away.
pay, yeah.
But these are abnormally large, well, I think abnormally large accounts. Others, it's almost standard SOP for them, but
Right.
this doesn't even include water, so.
That's
I
right.
see. Okay, that was just my question. If it could be.
And we've
like
gotten
with-
calls. Sorry.
Go ahead.
We've gotten calls a couple months ago asking what the balances were, kind of, giving us the idea that they were going to be paying it off or taking a loan out to pay it off, and then we never saw anything. So, but the tax sale always brings payment from this person.
Okay.
And everyone for that matter.
So I have a question on page 2. Account 364, why do I feel like that place was sold or there was a tax sale or what happened with that place?
Right now it changed, the mortgage changed hands. There's no owner yet.
So how were they able to get a mortgage and still owe us money?
The mortgage company foreclosed on them. That I don't have the document yet, but that appears to be what happened. The mortgage company foreclosed, so they, the bill goes to them. They get all the treats that go along with the ownership. So
Yeah.
when they go to sell, when the mortgage company goes to sell it, they'll be able to, whoever's buying it will have to clear that fee along with, I'm sure, town property taxes and whatever else might be outstanding.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone?
I'm wondering just in general if before the budget work session starts, so after the first of the year, if you guys want to take a little time each meeting and go over each of these lines and talk about what they're made up of, basically what the numbers represent as far as say like what expenses are included in the dues and subscriptions or whatever the wage is, just kind of going through the balance sheet and the income statement and making sure everyone understands. Are you guys interested in that, or is that too boring?
Well, Mona, I have a question for you on this. Now, when I used to do these things on a corporate level, we used to get explanatory notes, just bullet point notes on what the numbers are made up of. Would that be easier for you to do to circulate with everyone?
Yeah, it would be fine. It'd be a lot of, there'd be a lot of words. So like a one-time type thing, I could definitely do that. And then you guys could reference it.
A one-time type thing.
Absolutely.
So that we can, as we get new members, which we will have some coming on, it's something that can be given to them and they can have it, and it kind of gives.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it for myself, just to make it clear. So I absolutely will do that for you guys and get it to you before the next meeting.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Sewer operations, I guess, is where we're at.
Pete, before you move on, can I do a little bit more of finance? This is Amy.
Sorry, Amy.
You could do whatever you would like.
Sure. There are just a couple extra pages in the packet that I wanted to spend not more than 2 minutes on. And it is getting to more of that high level, big picture kind of conversations. The first one is sort of a column chart that starts to talk more about the electricity and fuel oil savings that sewer is seeing. And if you look at the line, which represents last year's fuel oil and electricity costs, and then the bars represent this year, obviously you can see we only have July, August, and September so far, but we're well below other years' numbers. And I know there's been some conversation around those potential savings and how they might materialize through the year. So this is a visual that we're going to keep looking at on the sewer side. As we move through and get a better sense of just how much may be left over in those two combined lines. And I've looked at electricity and fuel together because obviously we know there's an offset. If the generators are running, you're going to have some electricity savings and vice versa. And that combined with the extraordinarily low oil prices right now are really shaping up favorably for sewer to realize potentially some dollar savings. But it's a little early to count all those chickens quite yet. And I know there's been some questions around what can we do with that money? And we're not quite there yet, but there's on the following page, more of a number. I'm not going to share my screen, but I'll show you sort of like this, more of a number page, which gives you a little history of how those two costs have evolved over time. And you can see this year, there are 3 circles. This year, we're at 21% of our total budget for the year. We were in this similar spot in 2017, where we were only at 26% of budget at this point in the year. But by the time we got to the end through the winter, we actually finished just about at budget. And so again, this is just sort of we're seeing potential for significant savings, but there's also the chance that those disappear a little bit through the winter. So we're going to keep a close eye on it for the sewer, because again, it can be material. It informs how we're going to budget for next year, and potentially identifies a pot of money that you may be able to use in another way. And then the third page starts to get to a request that some commissioners have put in to visually start to see some of your reserve levels. There are obviously different categories of your reserves. You've got some operating reserves, and then you've got different types of capital replacement reserves. A general capital replacement reserve, and then one that is specifically set aside for the pump stations and floor fans, and then a smaller amount for the apartments, and how those are moving over time. And trying to provide some visual representations of those. You can see the 6/30/20 preliminary numbers is obviously a higher reserve level than what we were looking at 6/30/19 actuals. So that's always moving in the right direction. And then in each column, you can see 6/30/19, we had a small reserve deficit. For 6/30/20, we're looking at a very small excess reserve. So how those are evolving over time. And we think that at the end of December, we can start projecting this number into another column for 6/30/21. And again, see how those reserve levels are evolving going forward. So this is really just a first view of some visuals that we're going to continue to give to you going forward on the sewer to help maybe more clearly explain where some of those savings might be and where they could be deployed in terms of capital replacement going forward. If that helps, if we can tweak them, if they don't help at all, we're certainly open to feedback and tweaking them. But I have heard some opportunity to use pictures instead of numbers, and maybe that makes things more clear. Let us know.
All right. So I guess I'll make a quick comment about this. Amy's comments were kind of sort of driven in the background by conversations that I had with Dylan about this excess. Let's see if I will get it right. About $30-some thousand that was saved by running the generators this summer versus being on BIPCO. And what we wanted to do, I'll use an editorial "we" on that, Dylan, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And that we wanted to see the line item actually expressed. And if the number moves, I completely understand that it moves up and down. But what we wanted to illustrate is that overage of money we wanted to earmark specifically for rebuilding the generators because they need it. And number one, and number two, they're gonna need it if we're gonna run them in the summertime. They're gonna need it sooner than later, regardless of the condition that they're in. And it's prudent business. So the reason that we wanted to just have that particular column, if you will, of overage with shown, so that money would be specific and earmarked to a particular project, and not and short of an emergency, that's where the funds would be used. And I didn't see any. I'm realizing that it's not fiscal yet, so it's not the line in the sand, if you will, where we switch from one year to the next and start to project. I just thought it would be kind of good to see it, and assuming that we are able to do the same thing next summer, it would be something that Dylan could anticipate, or at least assist in him anticipating the rebuild of the 2 generators.
I think that's smart planning.
Well, I don't
If it
know.
happens.
Well, I think it's imminent that it will happen, because it's I think pretty much, rest assured, if the electricity rates go down on Block Island, what amounts to, I don't know, 25-30% or whatever that amount would, I don't foresee that happening, regardless of costs of anything. So I'm unless the money was needed to be used somewhere else, I'm pretty sure that Dylan's got that earmarked for the generators. I mean, we've been talking about this generator rebuild now for north of a year, maybe longer than that. I know Chris was talking about it, so it's definitely something that has to be done. We've got one that has to go before the other. And we just thought it would be a nice line item for everybody to sort of, for a whole host of reasons, not the least of which it shows that what Dylan's doing to keep that plant going and so forth and so on. And I just think it's a worthwhile line item, and all I wanted to do is have that shown in the financials as a separate spot.
I have no
comment on
objection to that. Amy, what are your feelings?
Sure, I think that's the direction that we're headed. By calling this out, it gives everyone the opportunity to see how those potential savings are evolving. And assuming the company has excess reserves at year end, particularly related to this line item, then you have the opportunity to, as a commission, take that action to set aside those reserves for that generator rebuild purpose, which, we always knew was a trade-off. The more you use them, the sooner that rebuild is going to be necessary. So I think that's the direction we're headed. And throughout the budget process in the winter and spring, we'll get a better handle around the timing and the amount of those rebuilds. And as we converge on year end, start setting aside money, assuming it's available, in that direction. So I think, all those things are converging.
I think it's also, it's kind of irrelevant whether those generators are going to have to get rebuilt one way or the other.
Absolutely.
There's no question about that. So it just, all I wanted to do was put the line item there, and what the money was used for was, I just thought it was a good spot for it, and I don't see the money dwindling unless we have to use it for something else. But I don't think that there's anything else. Well, there's probably some things on the equal playing field, but probably not anything more important than having backup generators at the plant. So moving those monies for any other purpose, at least not that I can think of off the top of my head, short of a catastrophe, and even then I don't know, that money will be spent on the generators.
Sounds good.
Because we're overdue now.
And I just want to assure everyone on the commission level that any surplus that is found to be as a result of cost savings from electricity and use of or in relation to fuel and such, with the low cost of fuel at this time, those funds at the fiscal year end, when we have that number in hand, if there is if the surplus is realized, I am highly positive that some semblance of a surplus will be, as the demand charge will be eliminated from at least what Jeffrey Wright has told me, that as I do not contribute to the high demand in those summer months, that I will no longer be paying that. I was paying over $1,200 a month just on the demand charge alone. So I'm very optimistic to see something realized there. And go ahead.
When are they anticipating, because that could be significant savings for us in both areas on the demand surcharge, eliminating that?
The demand surcharge for me would be eliminated because I operated generators. So I didn't contribute to the demand. Anyone, yeah, so I was not on during that time period. Same as that high impact rate structure that John had gone over at one time.
Right.
But the, I feel confident that we're going to have some benefit there at this time. And either way, the plan is in the works as we're talking about generator overhaul to complete that. I have Kat. I actually spoke with Kat today, and they're going to be offering 2 proposals to us within the next couple days. 2 different options on a rebuild on the engine or brand new engines. At this time, it's actually looking like the new engines would be more cost effective, less labor intensive. So we just got to take a look at that and go from there. But this is a priority as far as my capital project replacement goes. And it is not going to be removed from the list. And I do understand the necessity and urgency of having redundancy with backup generators. So I assure you that we will make this work. We will make this work. So that's that for me.
Still not feeling it, Amy?
I'm sorry?
You're still not feeling about, you still don't like the idea of a separate line item?
I love the idea of tracking potential savings. I don't like the idea of changing a budget that's adopted by the ratepayers. So, you know, that's why to me, this is an evolution of process that we are monitoring potential savings. We're making a plan for how to use them. We're recognizing additional strain on our system, and we're planning to adapt to that. To me, that's exactly what we should be doing as a body. I don't know that we unilaterally implement a policy today without direction of the commission and the superintendent and the ratepayers. So I think we're headed exactly where you want to be, Pete. I'm not sure what else you're looking for.
Well, I didn't know this was going to be a ratepayer decision because I don't see that we're really affecting the budget in terms of the ratepayers. If anything, we're not changing the structure short of adding a line item. And whether the line item sits there or sits somewhere else, to me, it doesn't seem to make a difference. It was strictly for a visual and a visual and an aid for Dylan and the management of the plant. That's how I saw it. But okay, I've said enough.
Is that it for operations or?
No.
Okay.
If I guess Susie doesn't want to give me my oh, there it is. Thank you. My visual. Okay, we can go on to the next 2. Thank you. So reduction levels for the new stormwater pollution control facility were excellent in October, 99% BOD, 98.4 for TSSs, and 99.39 for ammonia reduction. Efficiency was excellent, and all testing remained within permit limits. Next slide, please. Total monthly flows, customers were billed for 1.9 million gallons of waste treated in October, an increase of 7.02% to October 2019. I know Mona said 7.03, but I don't know. I think her math is better. Anyway, moving on. Next slide, please. Maintenance, aeration tank number 5, aeration tank number 2 were both offline for cleaning and inspection. All membranes look great. All panels were scrubbed, and number 5 was placed back online in service or operation for the off season. Number 2 will remain offline. Next slide, please. Training, I signed up for a microbiology of aerated bioreactors through RICWA. RICWA is the transition from the NWPCA, the Narragansett Water Pollution Control Association is now identified as RICWA. So I took a great course provided by Nora Lowe, NBC plant. She is the head of biology over there in Providence. And I learned quite a bit. It was a great class. So that was excellent. Staff continues Wombat cyber security training, and everybody should be up to date there. Next slide, please. Regulatory requirements, DMR QA was passed and laboratory certification received. Net DMR was submitted, and the RIPD's permit application for renewal of outfall 100A, 200A was submitted to Rhode Island DEM, and I want to thank Jim for all his help with that. Next slide, please. COVID update, testing in October resulted in positive concentration of SARS-CoV-2 after Columbus Day. Follow-up tests 10/21, 10/26 were both found to be negative. Next slide, please. However, the first test from November 11/9/20 was a positive test. And if you could go back, Susie, thanks. So with the recognition of the positive test and a number of individuals on island testing positive, it seemed to get us back into, I guess, shake us out of our complacency. I'm not saying that we were complacent over here 100%, but it just put us back to looking at our protocol and procedures, and we have reintegrated more of the rotational staffing requirements, discretionary quarantining. Currently, Jamie Cassidy is on a discretionary quarantine because he was in contact with the doctor, and everybody he's faring well, no symptoms, but within the 10 to 14 day window, we're going to keep that protocol. Unfortunately, that also pulls him out of the running for the next grade 2 test. So the Rhode Island DEM has made it very clear that he cannot attend, and they will be reviewing in December to provide a makeup date for him. So that was really good of them to do that. Next slide, please. So this moves me into the recent realization and webinar that I reviewed through Kathy Perez of South Kingstown. She's the superintendent over there. She pointed me into this direction for wastewater monitoring, utilizing a Lumen Ultra. Lumen Ultra is a biological diagnostic testing company. They have 25 years of experience, recognized as an industry leader in environmental industry and diagnostic monitoring. They are headquartered in Canada, and Lumen Ultra actually currently provides 500,000 tests to the Canadian government. That's clinical tests every week. They are currently operations in 6 countries. Next slide, please. Their notable clients include ExxonMobil, DuPont Chemical, Ecolab, Suez, and Veolia. Suez and Veolia are in the corporate wastewater sector. Next slide, please. I have, after reviewing the webinar and reviewing some of their other testing capabilities. I have found that their equipment, there was a big concern of mine if we were to integrate this type of testing, the obsolescence of equipment over time, especially with with vaccines being talked about on the horizon. Is this going to be something that we should pursue? I do feel as though there is value in this, and the obsolescence is no longer a concern, as the equipment can be utilized for microbial identification and monitoring for process control. So whereas some of the larger facilities can use phase electron microscopes, we can actually pin certain aspects of genetic variability and identify the microbes within our wastewater treatment facility and utilize that information for process control. All reagents and kits would be provided by Lumen Ultra. Next slide, please. So if we integrating this, we would look at a 24-hour composite from the raw influent. Testing would occur every 5 days utilizing the RNA extraction qPCR method. Testing with negative controls would be in place to ensure quality testing. We would also be integrating I didn't add this, but positive controls so that we can ensure our, quality assurance on that end as well, at least for the initial period. Next slide, please. Final cost comparison to BioBot. BioBot, it looks like they took advantage of the proprietary testing method, and each test cost us $1,200 for monitoring. Lumen Ultra can provide 96 tests. The overall cost, including equipment, divided by that 96 tests would be around $158 per test. And cost recouped at 13 tests on the assumption that we would continue wastewater monitoring. Any questions?
Got any recommendations, Dylan?
Well, I am looking to make the purchase for to integrate the testing. That it is $15,000. All of the equipment included, and I would like to just have a secondary motion to look at of that purchase through contingency. And is just as a follow-up, Mona, can you please provide our current numbers for contingency? If you're still there.
Oh, yes, I'm here. Okay, I was muted. Yes, your current balance for contingency is $33,760.
Okay, so that'll still leave us about 18,000, 19,000. I want to know, does anyone have any questions or concerns?
Just quickly, procedurally, this is the number 6 that was moved to the operations report. So there is the possibility of a vote on wastewater testing.
Yes.
Before that becomes a question.
Thank you.
So
So
I
you want-
have a question. I
Yep.
just want to make sure I understand this.
Sure.
So the testing that you want to continue to do, that you want to come out of contingencies,
Yes,
basically comes out from the users. And
that is correct.
why is it that our users are responsible for the testing here? Shouldn't we be getting some funding, or at least partial funding from the town or from
The state.
somebody?
I have reached out to the Lieutenant Governor's office and to Jack Reed's office. I know that they have the hand on the faucet. At this time, there has not been any confirmation of any funding for WBE. That's wastewater-based epidemiology that I have found beyond through NIH. I have some grants applications out. I have not heard anything back. The end result would be in April, the final
Okay, and would it hurt or help to reach out to Blake Filippi?
It may help, and I believe that's a good avenue, and I appreciate that thought. So I will do that.
Okay.
And to piggyback off of that, the state is withholding currently all of the CARES Act funds for all the individual cities and towns, for whatever reason. That's something that League of Cities and Towns is, currently advocating to get released for all sorts of, we'll say pandemic related expenses. So that's an ongoing issue within the state at least, but getting your representative as a part of that conversation can't hurt. That's for sure.
I appreciate that, David. Thank you.
So what do we gotta do? We gotta make.
Any other questions?
We have to make a motion to spend $18,000 of reserves. Is that what you're after?
No, it would be contingency, and it's not reserves. It is allocated as contingency. Yep.
I make contingency.
You broke up there, Pete.
I meant contingency. So you're looking for a motion to spend $18,000 of contingency. Any comments from anybody else? Well,
What is everyone's feeling on this?
What we all need to really think about is the value, and at least in my opinion, and this just coming from me, is the value. I will say that as of yet, I have not seen any authority utilize the information I have provided to make any determination or decisions for Block Island as a whole. So this is not something I want to just do as I guess, some type of ad hoc effort. I would like to have some sense of grasp on the value of WBE, and I do believe that, as I have seen through my application of looking at my test results to positive results on the island, especially as we're moving into the winter, and with the capability of bringing our test results and return of results down from 5, 7, 8 days down to 1 to 2 hours. There's an immense value there. It's where do we stand on that, and how do you feel about that? What is the right decision in that regard? Contingency is usually utilized for something in relation to something that is dependent for the operations, or dependent on the lab, or dependent on collection and of wastewater. This is not in that category. With the emergency, the initial request I put out there was met because I saw an opportunity to use a technology to aid our community. I have been approached by a number of individuals in our community who have said they've really appreciated the fact that we are providing that information.
But I guess my
so
question is on.
Yep.
This is Brad. I guess my question on that is the town, do we as a community, or does the town as a community benefit from this additional? Are they going to utilize this information if we elect to spend that money? Because it's not a small amount of money.
No, it's not. Like I said, there will be there is a cross utilization there. There is value there for my lab and for my process control and operations. As far as what Mary Ann's, we've had 3 different town managers since we've started this. So, we get different feelings from different people. I have not, Mary Ann was very appreciative of receiving the information. As I did see in a number of town council meetings that that it was discussed. The doctor himself had said it was well within what he would expect as far as monitoring goes. When we were going through the summer and we had no visibility on positive tests beyond the reactive demonstration by testing those individuals with symptoms, there was in fact a value there. I do see a potential value personally in through the winter as we are through our community.
Mary Ann had her hand up. Do you want me to let her speak?
Yes, please.
All right. Go ahead, Mary Ann.
A couple of questions and thoughts, maybe more thoughts than questions. Brad, I think along the lines of what I'm hearing you say, I'm not sure if the value of this going forward to spend the $18,000 from the contingency. Clearly, that's a sewer commission decision. In light of the fact that we may see a vaccination as early as the early winter that looks very promising from 2 different vaccine sources. And I'm not sure what the results of the testing adds to the information we already have. It doesn't point to us where a potential COVID positive patient would be or located. So again, it is strictly a Board of Sewer and Water Commission's decision. And that I do agree with Dylan. I found the information helpful and interesting. We did present it at town council meetings to let them know. But I'm not sure the long-term benefit. And again, I'd leave that to the board.
This is Brad again. That's kind of what I was leading up to. Because this is always still, and if you're doing it now, and if we stopped and decided that there was some sort of all of a sudden, epiphany as to how this can help beyond what we're already getting, we could also re-examine it, couldn't we?
Yeah, of course we could. So I just want you to understand that one of the main issues of utilizing WBE is getting return results. So fecal shedding occurs 3 to 5 days before symptom onset. That's scientific consensus, and that's just so the idea originally was that we would have a prediction as far as whether or not we're getting a spike in cases. That prediction could help decision makers make those decisions in relation to the community, whether or not they have to close down businesses or whether or not anything. If they find that if reactive testing is working to fill that gap, then there is no value there. If you use the information as a prediction, then there is value there. And as far as using it to determine locations within the community, I have tried to do that. However, there needs to be a cooperation and partnership with those decision makers, primarily the doctor. So I understand that there's certain aspects of confidentiality. I had put a request out to the doctor to understand what were these people in the sewer district or not, and which was well in line with much of contact tracing and most of the information that's been provided as standard throughout the whole pandemic. So it's how you use the information and how you perceive the information. I will say the Department of Health, I got the same question. How can we represent an area smaller than the entire catchment of the collection system? Pump stations. I feel like the decision makers don't very understand how the collection system works and how it does isolate the community, and how we can utilize that to isolate specific areas of the community and all of that. Again, that would take cooperation, which has yet to be realized. So that's where I'm at. There is no value without that cooperation. And
Why don't
without
we
that-
table this? Why don't we table this to next month and see how things change then?
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's appropriate. It has to be a decision by the board where you are in on the value of it and you appreciate the value of the testing. And where decision makers are going to use that information to make those decisions or to enhance their decision making. And so if that is not going to be used, well, it's a non-starter for me. It's a waste of time. So
I'll make a motion that we table this till next month and re-examine it at that point if necessary.
Yep. Thanks.
I'd second that.
All in favor for a vote?
Tom
Sandra?
seconds.
Aye.
Okay. Diane?
Aye.
Brad votes aye. Pete?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Motion carries. Okay, are we moving on to Water District?
I think that's up
Okay.
to you.
Okay, well then we'll move on then. Okay, discussion of potential action regarding emergency backup generator controller replacement purchase. Approval not to exceed 25,000. The generator discussion from the sewer, we have one at the water department. I'll let John take that over, but again, generators need service and or replacement at some point.
Yeah, if we take anything from this meeting, emergency backup generators are extremely important to both of our operations. So I mentioned during my operations report at the previous meeting that when we were doing preventative maintenance, when Milton Cat was doing their biannual maintenance, the technician could not get the generator to start in manual. He was very nice while he was over here, kind of on his spare time because he was spending a few nights. He helped troubleshoot the problem. It turned out it was actually the green board in the control panel. So it's on the generator. It's a whole big control panel that houses all the relays and everything that controls the generator. And this is a large green board or circuit board that this aspect of it failed. The generator still starts fine through the automatic transfer switch, but we don't want to let it go further and deteriorate where it's not going to start when we need it to. I had them work up two quotations for me. The first one in your packet is $3,157. That would be a replacement of just the green board. It's a little bit what I call a Band-Aid. In his email, he heavily recommended the other quote or proposal here. And one reason is because he's finding that it's harder to get parts for this control panel as time goes on. So in other words, if something else breaks on it, it's not a guarantee that we can get parts for this. The other proposal is for a full retrofit of a new panel. It's much more computerized. It's a nicer fit. It has less or no relays. It's very different than what we have. He says, actually, the guy who quoted me, who does this work, says this is a lot of what he does these days, is replace a control panel of our vintage with this control panel. This is like his job recently. He said, I've been doing so many of these. So the quote here is for $19,888, and there's this add-on for $1,000. I just thought for $25,000 approval to get this done, I'd like to have this done through the winter so we don't get into next summer with a generator that potentially won't kick on when we need it to. So it's really your pleasure. It was heavily recommended, the full replacement by Milton Cat.
Any questions, anyone? What's your recommendation, John?
I'd like to do the full thing. I don't trust the thing. I've had to work on it myself, already a few times and troubleshoot the panel before this happened. It's got a lot of wires. It's extremely complicated. I've been able to figure out other problems with it, but this isn't our first problem with this panel.
How old is the panel?
It's as old as the generator. This goes back, Jim, 2003 it was installed, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Yep. 2003 is right before I started working at the water company.
Brad, just to reinforce what John has been saying, I'm finding that the control panels that were put in back, let's say close to 15 to 17 years ago, they're being replaced because of the electronics in it. And don't forget, we have a very moist and corrosive environment. So now's the time, to put just to replace the board, while it's the less expensive, it's not the most prudent solution to the problem, because if we can upgrade the entire panel and get it today's technology, we're good for the next 15 years, at least as technology goes. I know instrumentation and controls are upgrading almost on a regular basis, but if we don't continue to upgrade our controls, we're going to find that we have to do a major renovation, even with SCADA and other things. But this is one element that I would strongly recommend we upgrade the panel to today's technology, because they're right. We're finding materials to fix these older panels are becoming less and less. They're not being supported no longer by the manufacturer.
And if we ever do get SCADA, this goes into SCADA and we can actually view it from remotely. It has a lot more information that it provides to us when the generator's running. That's definitely my recommendation, is to go with the full.
So the new panel will communicate with SCADA?
It can, but we don't currently have a system like that.
I know you don't, but it
yes,
has a capability of communicating it should you get it as well.
That's correct. Currently,
Okay.
it would be very limited. Yeah.
Okay, and as far as the generator, the generator itself is in good shape, not looking to be replaced. It's just basically this control panel that's necessary at this point.
Yeah, we put some money into this generator, but it's anything like a car. It's now rounding that 20-year age, and you're going to have to put money into. I think Jim and I spoke. I think replacing this would be about $300,000. Is that about? I think it costs $250 then, so you might even be looking at closer to $350 at this point in time. So just to give you an idea of, what a replacement cost would be, but all indications are is that we can get plenty of time left out in this generator. It doesn't run that much, and it's still in really good shape.
Unlike the treatment plant, this is only run when the power goes out.
Right.
The treatment plant runs continuously, at least through the summer months, if not year round. So this is only intermittent. So units like that, if they're maintained, they will have to have some cost for maintenance, but in general, 20, 25 years, 30 years.
I know, I get it. Yeah. It's like some of the equipment I've got, it gets used for a short period of time. So it's way beyond its normal life usage, and it's in great shape. So,
right.
Okay. All right. And John, you're suggesting the money for this come from where?
The generator maintenance line. We're just going to have to overspend it the way I see it. And, it's an unforeseen expense that we had when this happened. And I don't like to mess around with the generator and have it not kick on in a power outage.
I am in 100% agreement. So
I think we take it out of that line to show how much money we have been spending on it.
All right.
But that's.
I'll make a motion that we do that. I'm in agreement. I'd rather be safe than sorry and do it right.
We'll make a motion, Brad.
I thought I just did. I make a motion that we approve the funding for replacing the panel with the newer upgraded panel.
Can you give the dollar amount, please, Brad?
Second.
20.
Not to exceed 25.
Not to exceed 25,000.
I'll second that.
All in favor, please. Diane,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Sandra,
Aye.
Pete,
Aye.
Aye.
Brad votes aye. Motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda is the discussion potential action regarding the well number 6 contract. John received updated bids, I believe, last weekend. And it's been recommended to us that we proceed and award the bid to Lafram Boys Well Drilling out of Thompson for the amount of $9,950, which is under what we were hoping for. So that's good. Any questions or concerns?
I make a motion, we award the bid to LaFrance Boys.
I'll second that if no one else will. And for voting on it, Tom,
Aye.
Tom, do you vote? Okay. Sandra,
Aye.
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Pete,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Motion carries. Okay, let me jump back up to the first page here. Next item on the agenda is update on the High Street Payne Road water main project. John.
Yeah, I mean, Jim can take it, and if he has anything to add, I'll just quickly update. As far as I know, we have signed contracts with Boyle and Fogarty. We're awaiting USDA signature, and then after that, we can start on submittals and get working with Boyle and Fogarty, and they'll start submitting everything to Jim for his approval. And then they can start purchasing, and we can start moving forward with the start date still as the weather breaks, or hopefully in March 2021. Jim, is there anything to add to that?
No, basically that's it, John. You've summarized it. The documents went to USDA and they were received, I think Tuesday of last week. So what I'm waiting for is there is a co-signature with our solicitor from the water department and USDA. So he's got the entire document. Town manager has signed it. All the bonds and insurances are everything incorporated. So once I get that document signed by USDA and returned to my office, I will distribute the contract to finance, town, and the water commission for their records. And the notice to proceed will begin at that point in time.
One thing we do need to work on, and I'll work on this with Marianne a bit and probably the paper, is we need a little bit of a public information campaign, especially if school's in session. This will impact people's traffic, it'll impact their lives. It's a busy
What
sector.
I envision is that
we'll move forward with that.
What I envision is, as prior to beginning the project, we'll have a pre-construction sometime in January or early February at the latest. And we'll sit down with the town, Marianne, and even maybe the school department and the bus company to, normally I do that, especially in the area that we're concerned with, and sit down with them to get a game plan together as far as scheduling what's, because the road is going to be very tight there. And maybe we want to shift the hours a little bit to help.
Is it going to be shutting the road down or going down to one lane, as I would envision?
We're going down to one lane. We're not
Okay.
shutting the road down.
All right.
I can't really, in that area, I can't shut it down.
I'm
No.
sure Boyle and Fogarty would wish the kids were not in school. I certainly wish my kid is in school by then. But
we don't know what's going to bring in the spring.
We don't know what's
Hopefully,
gonna bring.
everybody's back to normal. and everybody's in school and we'll deal with the issues. But in general, I think we're going to be off to the side of the road. We will definitely keep access to the school and try to coordinate
center.
if we can find a window of time, because we are going by the school from the medical center along the school and then turning down the road. So maybe in the spring, while school vacation takes place or things like that, maybe we can coordinate that. And as this evolves, I'll certainly, work with the school department and the town to get this coordinated correctly.
Okay. Sounds good. Aging and financials.
All right. So for the water, again, they increased just like the sewer by about 15.27% as far as what they billed. If you turn to page 2 with the expenses, and you look at the percent used column, you can see we've already exceeded what we budgeted for. We budgeted pretty low. We just didn't expect to have the season that we did. So that's good. But right below that, about 3, you see it's 715% used of our penalty fees. So obviously we did not budget or did not expect to have so many usage penalties. Going down further, I want to just point out 2 other numbers that look large but have explanations. And so in line with the fact that usage was way more than we expected, the electricity line isn't necessarily going to be at the percent used point that you would expect it to be. So it's at 79, but we had reduced the budget number because we just expected much lower numbers, and then that would require less electricity to produce the water. And then just a couple more below that electricity would be the meters, and it shows an overage. And I just wanted to say that includes right now that total year-to-date actual 4,783. That includes meters that were purchased for the sewer. The water handles the sewer's meters replacement. And so over on the sewer financials, you would see the same expense. At the end of the year, the water will bill the sewer, and they will pay that back, and it'll reduce that number back to where it should be.
Yeah, and that line will be overspent this year. We usually allotted, 5,000 to that a year, and I might come close to that. There's some mid-range meters, I call them, and of course, the problem I have with the technology these days is when the battery goes out, it's more expensive to replace that item than the whole meter, which I'm running into now. So instead of just replacing a radio, it's actually less expensive to go with a new meter. So some of those radios are failing, and we're having to replace them at a faster rate than I thought.
Okay.
Shouldn't be
Okay.
too bad, though.
If you move to the 3rd page, it's where we track the water company's capital projects. And so you can see we have 3 projects there. We didn't budget anything for the High Street water main, as we knew it wouldn't be started yet, but we do have a year-to-date actual number there, and that's for some of the preliminary engineering fees. And then the cathodic protection looks like we haven't completed that project yet.
It just came in under budget.
3, okay, yeah, oh yes, right, sorry.
Yep.
Great, okay. And that is it.
Okay, and then as far as the aging goes, and my one concern is that same account, which brings the total up to over 70,000, another 32,000, so over 70-some thousand.
So this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is I would like to get back on track with where we were with the alternating years. And so we should have had the sewer tax sale in July of 2020. Now we're going to have it in is it April? I would like to have the water tax sale the very next month to get caught up and then get back to our normal alternating schedule. Just wanted to feel that out with you guys. It may feel like a hardship on some of these people, but I feel like we need to take care of some of the balances.
I think that's a phenomenal idea.
I do too.
Okay, so we just do one right after another.
Yes.
Okay, and this is all, the schedule is just, we need to wait and see if David has any conflicts, but it'll be right around the same time. So we'll do a tax sale in April for sewer, and then in water, we'll do one in May.
Okay.
So that's actually going to make it easier on finance and doing everything sort of at the same time, isn't it? In terms of notices
we'll go through the process twice. So it's different, but that's fine.
Okay.
We're just going to get caught up, yeah.
And we'll be caught up by the end of the fiscal year, is the theory there. So
yeah.
We won't get the 4th of July paper, exposure, to for advertising. That's where the original July tax sale date came from, is that when you have to advertise, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4 weeks ahead of the sale, it was in in the Block Island Times most popular issue, if you will. So there was incentive to not be in that paper. So, but we'll be fine.
If the commission still wants to go that route, we could have the water tax sale in July and just space it out by a couple months from the sewer. So whatever you guys want.
I think it's an excellent idea to follow the following month.
Okay. Got it. Thanks. That's all I've got.
Okay. Any other questions on aging or anything from anyone? Okay, moving on then. Water operations.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that we had a great shoulder season out here. October was up in production and metered flow, which is great. We are in full shut-off meter removal mode at this point. I just want to remind homeowners that watch the weather. We're getting a little bit of a freeze coming up. They might do an outdoor shower, but it doesn't look too bad. We've had some plumbers retire and some other things happen. So I do have some concern moving forward that something needs to just get taken care of, and people aren't going to be vigilant about getting their water turned off. But we're reaching out to people and making sure that this happens before it becomes our problem. I continue to work with Dr. Tom Boving from URI on a full proposal for the water use and availability study. We're just about at that stage, and then we'll submit it and see if the Water Resource Center will fund that. I will keep you up to date on that, but that's very interesting to be involved with. The biggest thing of this month, which kind of took up the last half of the month, was bringing down both of our tanks one at a time for cleaning inspection and the cathodic protection replacement. Everything went very smooth. There's a lot of logistics that are involved with this, and just about everything went smooth, but no major hiccups. And I'd like to thank our staff and everything else. There's a lot of extra work, extra time, weird hours. So, and it all went really well. This is something we do once a decade. So it was cleaned. There wasn't much sediment at the bottom. So everyone was very impressed. A little bit of iron in the bottom, but that's it. Statewide Aquastore provided the inspections. Tank 1 needs an exterior resealing. We did that to tank 2 recently. And then tank 2 will need to be brought back down for an interior resealing. We will budget for that next year as part of our planning. I wouldn't call it a capital project, it's more maintenance, but we'll put that into our budget for next year. And the cathodic protection system, we received everything new from inside and outside the tank. I'm very happy with that. It was at the end of its useful life, and that gives us about 25 years. That helps the tank last longer by helping it with corrosion. Other than that, with Dylan, we are kind of back to a rotating schedule with the COVID, with the positive cases back on the island. And we're trying not to interact with each other indoors for long periods of time or at all. So we're back into this odd schedule. And we're continuing to get tested. All three of us are continuing to get tested. That's about it. I would like to take this opportunity. This is not on the report as it was an evolving situation. We are losing, oh God, this is hard. We're losing Jordan as an operator.
Well, John, you talked to me about
Take a minute. He's a good friend. I'm sorry. I like said it out loud for the first time, and it's upsetting to me. We'll get through it, but you know, it's losing my second guy. I've had him around for a long time. We'll get through it. The job that he took is a 2-week on, 2-week off job. And he's willing to help out on his time when he's back on the island. So next meeting, I'll have an agenda item that outlines.
Well, John, I mean, I know this upsets you, and it comes as a little bit of a shock. I know he's been agonizing for this for a while. You know, as I indicated to you, and as he indicated, you know, a 2-week on, 2-week off job with 2 kids on the island and a wife here is not easy. Having done something like that myself, and it you know, not that it just things change sometimes.
Yeah.
When you start doing
sorry,
something
it was
like
the first time I said it out loud. I feel like, and I just found out before this meeting, so I apologize. It's just Jordan's a little bit of a unicorn for Block Island, so I apologize. You get very close when you work so close together for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
But we'll get through it. It'll be fine. Tisha's coming up, and you know, we'll see what the future holds for us. There will be an ad in the paper for an operator. So if you guys see
and this
that,
won't be taking place until after the end of the year.
that's
if I'm not
correct. He's
mistaken,
sticking around to the end of the year, and then we're going to work out something in the next meeting where he can be as needed basis, because I'm going to need something, or else it's just me who's licensed here. So puts me in a very difficult position.
Yes, and his license is good for another 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
About 2 years, so we're good till then. You know, this isn't a long-term solution. It's a transitional solution. And we'll get through it, and we'll get someone else who's good. And I look forward to seeing what the future brings for someone else. So, but you will see an ad in the paper for a new operator.
Okay. Now, before we do this, Dave, do we need to go into executive session, or is that on there just in case we have to?
Well, I do have a small semi-substantive update, so I would like to go into closed session if the commission's willing.
Yes. Okay, this is regarding the tax situation. So the New Shore and Water Commission may vote to go into executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5, paragraph A, subsection 2, pending litigation with the Division of Taxation, case 138-00990, regarding the appeal of the sales tax audit fiscal year 13 to 16. So I'll make a motion that we go into executive closed session.
Dave, you want me to step away now? I can sign off.
Yeah, James, Marianne, and the Block Island Times. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks
You
for
have
coming,
a good
guys.
evening. Stay safe, everybody.
You as well.
See you, Jim.
We need a second to that motion.
Second.
Tom seconds.
Okay, all in favor? Sandra,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye. Aye.
Okay, Pete,
Aye.
aye, and Brad votes aye. So motion carries and we are